Who's going to need real friends in the future when you could just have beep barp over here?
Oh my gosh, no.
This, as we're entering into a very interesting technocratic dystopian type of future that now Peter Thiel is warning that any resistance against is akin to the Antichrist. What's really going on here? As of course, we have all seen the question about Peter Thiel being asked if he is the Antichrist, and then that kind of very interesting pause, that very interesting moment captivated the internet. But what was said before, specifically about building up a one world government, I think is really telling and really interesting that I think we should pay more close attention to. We're going to be playing excerpts from this particular interview, as well as one from Bill Gates that kind of connects the dots about this larger question here that I think is really important. And it's this kind of existential question: will humanity endure? A response that also was extremely fascinating from Peter Thiel that doesn't really bring any kind of reassuredness. Personally speaking, from seeing this and connecting the dots, especially with understanding, speaking of Brzezinski, the grand chessboard, and the technocratic future he predicted, this is all encompassing in a very kind of coalesced way that I'm going to be doing my best to try to lay out to you in this particular video. And if you appreciate deep down the rabbit hole videos like this, subscribe, click the notification button. We always appreciate everyone for their attention and time that they give to us. As of course, InfoWars has a very interesting article that says Thiel warns about a one world government threat larger than artificial intelligence and climate change. Now, This was interesting because the conversation originally started with this, and then the conversation kind of went into Antichrist, went into will human beings actually survive? Will they actually be able to sustain, this kind of new robotic AI technocratic future? Listen, Peter Thiel, very influential, very powerful, very rich man. Okay, this guy is a part of the Bilderberg Steering Committee meeting. You look at the Bilderberg meeting, all right, and you look at all the newcomers that come, all the politicians that are groomed there to become presidents and prime ministers. You look at their agenda and the other kind of scuttlebutt and other things that are coming out that we kind of pick up on as well, that really do lay out the groundwork for the future there. It really is fascinating stuff, as we have major Bilderberg luminaries talking about how this was the group that helped create the euro, openly bragging about how their goal is about a one central world government. So it's pretty interesting to see Peter Thiel now warn about this one world government. But is this a psyop? What's really going on here? We're going to be paying close attention to it, as of course the question now remains here: who really is the Antichrist, and can humanity survive here, especially when it comes to AI superintelligence that, according to Peter Thiel, can solve the world's problems? Now, Peter Thiel, for some people, is an evil villain, as The Guardian has this article here that writes, Peter Thiel's Palantir poses a grave threat to Americans. And yes, Peter Thiel essentially picked up where DARPA left off with the total information awareness, especially with his kind of funding of Palantir. He also got some interesting funding from Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. And, Palantir is named after a surveillance tool of an evil wizard in a fictional depiction here. And, Bilderberg Steering Committee and all those things kind of interconnected here. You make your own kind of you make your own kind of judgment on this man. As of course, he just joined a new tech billionaire venture that is called Eroding. According to Pri Malbula on Twitter, says Peter Thiel names his new bank after the location in Lord of the Rings where Samug killed everyone and stole their money. If you liked Palantir, you'll love Ikerbar. Interesting kind of, type of, symbolism there. The craziness, the rabbit hole digs itself here. Okay, I'll just leave it at that here. Now, This was what captivated everyone's attention. Peter Thiel essentially warning about the Antichrist, and the person interviewing him says, "What if you're the Antichrist?" And then that, of course, sparked a lot of fury. We did a video about this. If you want to watch that full video, by the way, we'll link it down in the description so you could watch the prelude to this, because I wanted to now talk about the conversation that led up to this. But again, very telling to have kind of Peter Thiel kind of like, realize, hold on. Maybe the kind of surveillance tech tool for the Total Information DARPA program that was previously canceled because of worries about civil liberties, privacy, and rights, that was just started up in a private venture through, of course, a CIA-connected company. Maybe there's something to worry about here. But Peter Thiel warns about the centralization of power, unironically, and then talks about how a lot of people who want one world government and the Green New Deal are the bigger threats here. And the people who, of course, will be, this is his kind of assessment here, the people pushing back against technology and technological innovation are the ones that are going to be leading the charge for the Antichrist here, that's going to come in on a crusade of defeating this tech. That is his notion. Before playing this clip here, which led up to all this, and then I found some very interesting tidbits here that I want to pick up on and talk about. Before talking about that, and people perpetually living forever as technocratic elites, cyborgs in the future, we wanted to, of course, tell you about wearechange.shop, as, of course, you should take care of your health, especially with all the kind of underhanded eugenics operations out there. And it's not easy to take care of your health. It's important to prioritize sleep, working out, getting rid of stress in your life, and eating healthy. Those are the core tenets of, hey, I got to take care of myself. Lots of people don't do that. You should do that. I was not that type of person a couple years ago. I started to be that type of person. And one of the things that helped supercharge my journey was, of course, supplementation. Supplementation that kind of, for me, was a little bit of a cheat code. Was able to, of course, have more significant gains, have a little bit of a jump start towards this overall health goal and progress of living a healthy, holistic type of lifestyle, which I can't recommend for everyone because there's so much misery, so much suffering, so much pain. And the supplement that we decided to start off with was, of course, ashwagandha. Now, why did we decide to start off with ashwagandha? Well, it's mainly because it's really good for lowering cortisol. Okay. Now, you shouldn't lower cortisol forever. You should let your system naturally run here. But some people just need that extra boost. I needed that extra boost. I was working in a lot of very high pressure, high stress situations. I was, co-hosting one of the biggest shows in the world and working my butt off and trying to, of course, run my operation and run my businesses. And I barely was able to sleep, barely was able to have any kind of personal life. I didn't have any personal life. I just worked my butt off. Now I'm doing that again, mainly because the IRS just destroyed me and wrecked me financially. But I started taking ashwagandha and I was like, wow. Okay, I can handle this pressure. I can handle this stress. I could do this. It boosts your testosterone. It helped me start my workout journey. I literally got an MMA fighter, and I was at the Beanie compound with Tim Pool, and I'm like, I'm starting a fight club. Tim's like, great. I'll give $100 to everyone who does the fight club with you. We literally did a fight club. You could see all the behind the scenes videos of it, where we brought in MMA trainers, started working everybody out there to learn how to do self-defense. It was a lot of fun, and ashwagandha truly was the biggest game changer. Because again, it's like, oh man, I'm old. I don't want to do this. Now you take that pill. It's like, okay, I got a little bit more energy. I got a little bit more stamina. Do your own research. Not everyone should be taking ashwagandha. There's some people that shouldn't be taking it. Pregnant women, don't take it. Do your own homework. Talk to any kind of medical professional before putting anything into your own body. This is very powerful. And I know a woman that was just taking it, even though it normalizes hormone levels. For me, I was able to increase my testosterone 200 points, by the way. But it wasn't just with the ashwagandha. Partly, I think it was ashwagandha. Partly, I think it was also mainly heavy lifting and sprinting and making sure that your cojones are cooled off and not in perpetual heat. That's another story in itself. I did a whole video for members of LukeUnfiltered.com how to boost your testosterone. So check out that video for members of LukeUnfiltered.com. But check out ashwagandha. One of the things that helped me might help you. And absolutely, if you're going through a very difficult, stressful time, this is the supplement that is absolutely incredible. And it definitely has increased fertility. I could definitely... listen, do your own homework, do your own research, and then check it out. We are Change.shop. We made sure to source it from a great location, and I think you will enjoy it. Now, let's go back to this kind of conversation here that I think it's worth paying attention to, because, again, lots of eye-opening tidbits here in this particular interview here. Here's how this kind of Antichrist realization kind of came into play with Peter Thiel, first warning about how the people resisting all the new tech and all the AI and all the stuff will be the ones ushering in the Antichrist.
About the risk of another type of a bad singularity, which I would describe as the one world totalitarian state. Because I would say the political solution, the default political solution people have for all these existential risks is one world governance.
He's talking about the risk of predominantly here. I think what he's hinting at here is the risk of regulation against technology. And he's saying you shouldn't regulate tech because that's going to lead into a one world kind of government system.
What do you do about nuclear weapons? We have a United Nations with real teeth that controls them.
Yeah, so he's forewarning about not stopping the AI revolution that he's a part of, that he's scraping all the data on the internet. Data is the new oil. And the reason I believe he said nuclear weapons, in my own personal opinion, is because AI is seen as the next nuclear weapon. That's how Vladimir Putin described it, as the next country that develops this will be the one that develops this type of new form of warfare and weapon that will be able to control the world. Now, if you are working on the forefront of that, you don't want a government or a UN organization coming in and saying, hey, stop with this AI development. You guys are creating a situation where you guys will be gods on this earth and have nuclear-powered type of information weapons at the fingertips of tech oligarchs here. He's saying the government shouldn't control this. We should keep going where we are. That's what I got from this.
And they're controlled by an international political order. It's and then something like this, is also, what do we do about AI? And we need global compute governance. We need, a one world government to control all the computers, log every single keystroke to make sure people don't program, a dangerous AI. And
he's warning about government surveillance, as he also is a big pioneer of the government surveillance tech. That's where there's a big misconception here, because, again, he's talking about people better not code. Well, if we look at the way that, Palantir has been kind of utilized here, especially with all the secret contracts that are going on with the UK government that the UK government won't say anything about, and then we see this kind of total information dominance of right-wing political thought that has been stuffed out, even with Alex Karp bragging about it in Europe. When we see the total absolute destruction of this kind of right-wing kind of ideology, it makes you question with everything that he's saying right now.
Been wondering whether that's sort of a, going from, the frying pan into the fire. And so the atheist philosophical framing is one world or none. That was a short film that was put out by the Federation of American Scientists in the late 40s.
It's been a vision of the Rockefellers that were instrumental in creating and propelling groups like the Trilateral Commission Council on Foreign Relations and the Bilderberg Group, who a lot of people view as major kind of organizations pushing for a one world government type of system, as David Rockefeller even personally bragged about how his major mission in life was to usurp national sovereignty. That was his kind of enemy here, as of course they were big supporters of Karl Marx and helped China get to where they are right now too. So that should make you question, especially with how tech is being used in places like China. Again, a lot of these people have their kind of fingerprints on. But again, Peter Thiel. So we have somebody online saying that he's an advocate for transhumanism by using science and technology to radically alter or transform the human body and pursue digital immortality. Well, that's exactly where we are kind of going to. The conversation continued on. We cut it off here. And I thought this was the most kind of interesting part of the conversation that now gets into Peter Thiel's more of a cogent thesis here. As he kind of, again, he gives a lot of, long-winded answers, but let's be honest, there's a lot of tidbits of information that are just like, whoa, in every little bit of answer that he gives us.
I think environmentalism's pretty powerful. I don't know if it's absolutely powerful enough to create a one world totalitarian state, but man, it is.
I think it is not.
It is
in its current form.
It is. I want to say it's the only thing people still believe in Europe.
Now he's talking about the green cult. There's a reason the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Trilateral Commission, Bilderberg Group, all these people, Bill Gates are eugenicists. They believe that there's too many people in this world. We got to wipe them out. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit here. There's so many tidbits of information that are just firing off of my synapses here that I want to particularly bring up here that I'm being a little bit overwhelmed, to be completely honest with you. Because there's so many different things that I wanted to particularly talk on. But when you look at the green cult, it is an invention of the people who do want to kind of see humanity squashed, humanity destroyed. Peter Thiel probably sees technology and AI as a way to kind of propel and expand humanity. But is it humanity if it's technocratic? That's the question that I think is not really left answered here as well. But he is not wrong to talk about how the green cult wants to create a new world order, because that's exactly what it is. And their kind of foundation is, and they've been dying to do this, lock everyone down, put them in pods, make them eat bugs, limit travel, 15-minute cities. That's essentially what they're doing here. But they're doing it through tech that he's building. That's the moment right there where we got to be. Wait, hold on, whoa. That's the moment that we got to pick up on. But he's not wrong.
Europe, they believe in the green thing more than Islamic Sharia law, or more than in the Chinese communist totalitarian takeover. And the future is an idea of a future that looks different from the present. The only three on offer in Europe are green, Sharia, and, the totalitarian communist state.
Yep. Listen, he's not wrong here. And that type of ideological hijacking that has been kind of ensued through a lot of the depopulation cultists is something that is absolutely something to consider and worry about. As of course, if you look at everything that happened during the Kuf years, the lockdowns, the restrictions, the destruction of private businesses and small enterprises, and the ability for human beings to be able to interact and travel with each other, all of that was proposed under the guise of climate, all green, of environmentalism. We have to do this. They couldn't do it because people were like, why? Dude, you're just taxing me and destroying my life, and destroying my freedom and destroying my ability to prosper. They weren't able to get it to that. And that's why I believe that they deliberately released the Kuf in order to implement that, dry run it. It was their dry run. And now they're building and working on bigger things here. As of course, that was a big beta test to see how they're going to fully take over and surveil all of humanity and take them over. Now, are those guys building the Antichrist, or the guys building the technology that will kind of usurp humanity here? As of course, Peter Thiel was then asked whether the human race will endure. As of course, it created an awkward moment where I think there was more of a confession here that a lot of people realize here. Here's the clip, which again, this is pretty big here. Look at the way he answers this question. Look at the little micro expressions on his face here. This says a lot.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would.
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit in this.
Should the human race survive?
Yes.
Okay.
But
why we gotta get a butt in here? What?
But I also would I also would like us to radically solve these problems.
Right.
And so it's always, I don't know, transhumanism is this, the ideal was this radical transformation where your human natural body gets transformed into an immortal body.
Are you human then? Some people argue, no, you're not. As of course, look at the sentiments by Bill Gates. Bill Gates has very interesting kind of sentiments here, as he's the big kind of proponent of this green energy deal stuff. And he was asked, with the rise of AI, are we going to need human beings?
People are like, wow, this is a bit scary. It's completely new territory.
I mean, will we still need humans?
Not for most things. We'll decide.
That's the guy. He's like, too many people in this world. We got to lower that number. We're going to lower it through. You know what? Listen, there's another very fascinating conversation with Yoel Harari. He is Klaus Schwab's right-hand man. And he describes how the elites are building their own kind of arc for the AI storm and apocalypse that is coming here. An arc that will allow them to propel and survive all everyone else's. That's probably what's happening here. I'm going to do a video about that next, either today or tomorrow. Subscribe, click the notification button in order to get that and a lot more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange. Try to take care of your health. Seriously. wearechange.shop. We got some of the great, most high quality stuff out there. Can't recommend it enough. Stay tuned for more. I love you guys here on youtube.com/wearechange.